Everyone remembers the day when Seth Rich was found shot in the Bloomingdale neighborhood of Washington, D.C. It was July 10, 2016, a summer night that would fracture a family and ignite an avalanche of falsehoods. Seth Conrad Rich was 27, a DNC data analyst who worked on voter outreach.
He was remembered by colleagues as earnest, civic-minded, the sort of young staffer who cared more about turnout than headlines. He did not survive that night's gunshot wounds. Police ruled it a homicide. The case would remain open, unresolved, and rapidly consumed by forces far beyond the local investigation.
The facts at scene were straightforward and stubborn. Rich was shot multiple times and rushed to a hospital where he died. Metropolitan Police investigated a street homicide, an apparent robbery gone wrong by their account. But in a fraught 2016 political climate, a rumor metastasized into a full-scale conspiracy. Within weeks, the claim emerged that Seth had been the source of leaked DNC emails that later appeared on WikiLeaks, a sensational allegation that implied political motive and international intrigue. Conspiracy engines fed on two dynamics: the political heat of the U.S. presidential campaign and a ready set of repeat amplifiers. Fringe websites, a high-profile WikiLeaks founder's cryptic comments, and a scattershot of partisan commentators and private investigators repeated and embellished the claim. A former federal investigator, public political operatives, and internet theorists all asserted that Seth had been killed for leaking documents to WikiLeaks, despite lack of credible evidence. The conspiracy was not merely a story, it became a weapon, then a contagion. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks flirted with the narrative, offering rewards and insinuations, even as U.S. intelligence agencies were building a different picture. Russian military intelligence had conducted a coordinated hack of the DNC and others, and the stolen material was funneled to intermediaries and then to WikiLeaks.
That official assessment, later articulated publicly by the intelligence community and reiterated in special counsel findings, undercut the Seth Rich leaker theory. Yet misinformation has its own momentum. Right-wing media figures and some commentators amplified speculation, sometimes citing a private investigator who later said his statements had been misrepresented. The human toll was immediate. Seth's parents, Joel and Mary Rich, were thrust into a nightmare. Their son became the subject of televised conjecture and a barrage of online harassment. False claims invaded their grief.
The family repeatedly demanded retractions and sued media outlets that had promoted the conspiracy. A high-profile network ultimately retracted a story and settled a lawsuit for damages in 2020. Law enforcement, meanwhile, stayed focused on leads and interviews, but the case's visibility had been warped into a political flashpoint. A clear explanation of the conspiracy is necessary because its mechanics are instructive. An unproven suggestion was amplified by partisan intermediaries. That amplification was then recycled by foreign and domestic actors with motives to sow discord. The rumor displaced investigative rigor, intimidated witnesses, and compounded the suffering of surviving family members.
In short, the conspiracy was less a single lie than an ecosystem of misdirection that exploited the public's appetite for scandal. As of today, the murder of Seth Rich remains unsolved. The Metropolitan Police Department classifies it as an active homicide investigation, but there have been no arrests. The broader lesson endures: when tragedy intersects with politics, truth can be the first casualty. The story of Seth Rich is a reminder that real lives are at stake when rumor becomes headline, and that an unanswered crime can be deepened, not solved, by noise and accusation. The search for Seth's killer continues, but the echo of the conspiracy that followed him lingers as a cautionary tale about how quickly facts can drown under the tide of deception.